Alright, what is good, ladies and gentlemen? We are back reacting to another video, and this is reference to Mr. Beast. Now, I'm a little bit late on the update. I need to be a little bit more timely in terms of these videos, but this is in reference to a Mr. Beast video of him building wells in Africa. So I'm going to react to some commentary regarding it and give you some of my
Better,
thoughts.
because I'm angry. Granted, it would make sense if it was at the system and the world, but I'm also going to direct it towards Jimmy, Mr. Beast, because fuck that guy. And so when he released his new video, I Built 100 Wells in Africa, he kind of knew what was going to come. And in that video, he goes to Kenya, Zimbabwe, and other countries to install wells to give people drinking water. Also notably speaking to the local communities,
And
getting
man,
them
shout out
schools,
Mr.
new equipment.
Beast.
Mr. Beast closing his video by
I have a
encouraging
lot of
people to
respect for
donate to the
this
Water
man.
His Life campaign at Beast Philanthropy.
I know it's weird that a YouTuber has to do all this stuff, but someone's got to do it. And if no one else is, we're going to do it. As you can tell, it really does change the lives of the communities where we build them.
And so with that, as expected, he got a lot of praise for doing that. People applauding him for helping so many people using his platform and money for good. But as he predicted, he got some backlash, with some saying that he was exploiting vulnerable
Taylor Lorenz. Inspiring people to help others is great, but encouraging young people to exploit vulnerable communities for content which they can then profit off of enormously is the issue. Unfortunately, that's what a lot of young people take away from Mr. Beast's videos. You know what's funny? It's funny to me that there's an intended action or intended thoughtful mindset to kind of conceptualize possible outcomes from Mr. Beast helping people. But when it comes to other perceptions of issues, there's only one solid answer. It's mind-blowing. Because I guarantee if I went up to look up Taylor
communities for
Lorenz's
content. For some
video,
accusing him of being a so-called white
or Ethan's video, or Healer's video, I would find some very absolutionist takes that are very leftist. Well, there's like America's racist, Israel is genocidal, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It dawns on me that people are so insecure. My biggest issue with Mr. Beast, he needs to be needed. He's one of the biggest white savior complexes ever. Just look at the way he responds to any criticism by someone with a platform. He needs to be liked and deified by everybody. Can't stand it when he isn't. Always the most racist white incels doing the white savior bull S. And of course, his audience will just eat it up again and again. Seriously, how does this freak still have a career? Oh, man. I preach on my podcast to forgive and get past the cycle of hatred. And it probably is hard for Mr. Beast to kind of deal with some of these individuals who hate on him so much, and all he's trying to do is help people. I'm just speechless, because it makes me think maybe it's anybody that attaches them to themselves with the white male capitalist system automatically is always bad. Automatically always bad. These leftists are so brainwashed that they're not seeing people as people. They're just as sexist and racist as the people they complain about. All they see is white male
savior and arguing, he's tackily packaging a myth, mostly to children, that Africans are helpless, featureless subject of his kindness, that Africa can only be helped by a white celebrity who's amassed immense wealth first. Well, of course, online, everyone sounds off on things. We actually saw some activists agreeing with parts of the criticism, with, for example, in a CNN report, them pointing to one aspiring Kenyan politician who accused Mr. Beast of playing into a stereotype that Africa is dependent on handouts. Also, in addition to that, CNN talked to the founder and CEO of the water infrastructure organization Face Africa, who said, "I've been doing this for 15 years, but we've been struggling to continue the work because funding funding, awareness, and advocacy all take work. And adding, overnight, this person comes along who happens to be a white male figure with a huge platform, and all of a sudden he gets all of the attention. It's kind of frustrating, but it's also understanding the nature of how the world is. And with that saying, it was good that MrBeast installed these wells, but also adding that doing it sustainably is what matters. Right? Arguing that it's one thing to install wells and another to actually have them working 5 years from now. With their organization Face also going on to explain so much more of the wider consequences that come from not having access to water. Right? Because beyond causing serious illness, it prevents children from getting an education because they need to help with water retrieval. This is something that disproportionately impacts girls and women, as they're seen as the ones in charge of managing water and cooking and cleaning, with Face's website adding, the lost number of potential school days in education hinders the next generation of African women from breaking out of the cycle of unequal opportunity for gainful employment. With safe water nearby, women are free to pursue new economic opportunities and improve their families' lives. Also, in this situation, you have others
So, but one of the faces of trying to implement more water in these locations is complaining about Mr. Beast putting water in those locations, even though we statistically know why this is an issue. But because he's a white male figure, that's a problem. It seems like you don't really care about the people. It seems like you only care about the credit, the notoriety, the praise. Mr. Beast is doing something that everybody complains about rich people not doing. Complains about successful people not doing. Giving back, helping society, making society better. He's doing the exact same thing that we criticize athletes, musicians, the richest of the richest entertainers. Why are they not creating a better society? Why are they not helping? We criticize these people all the time. And Mr. Beast is doing exactly that. And he's criticized for being a white male. This is what I'm talking about when I say that the left is, they don't know who they are. They're fighting a battle they don't even know what they want. I want a better society. I want a better this, and that. White male doing it, I don't want it anymore. What are we talking about?
arguing that this whole controversy highlights far more than just the issues with water in African countries, right? Some pointing to larger issues with income inequality. And understandably, while a number of places have this issue, a lot of the focus was on Kenya, as that's where a lot of Mr. B's video took place. And actually with that, CNN pointed to a Kenyan activist who suggested that Mr. B's video brought shame to the country, by saying leaders get grants for cars, but somehow there's no money to drill more holes or wells so people can have drinking water. And actually, to dive into that, you had Reuters doing a report back in 2018 noting that while Kenya's economy had grown roughly 5% annually over the last decade, it has not been equally distributed and has made the gap between the rich and the poor wider. And this is a small minority of Kenyans receive the wealth, and it's not trickled down. With the Kenya Fight Inequality Alliance telling the outlet that, quote, faced with a fiscal crisis caused by corruption and overborrowing, the government is choosing to balance the books on the backs of the poor by increasing the cost of the basic goods like food. And there, the report noting that at the time, the government had proposed a 16% tax on things like flour, gas, and bread. With groups like Oxfam also saying that corporate tax dodging is undermining Kenya's tax base, explaining Kenya is losing $1.1 billion a year to tax exemptions and incentives, almost twice what the government spends on its entire health budget in 2015-16. Oxfam also
That's kind
highlighting
of
budget
crazy, not
issues,
gonna
saying that
lie.
even though a quarter of Kenyans lack access to regular healthcare, only 6% of the government budget goes to health. Also, more recently with the AP doing a report in 2022 about how elections at that time highlighted wealth inequality. Right, as the People Watch campaign spend millions and millions of dollars while the rest of the country is working, unable to even save money. Mind you here, the public doesn't even get to know where that campaign money comes from. Then there are also issues with malnutrition, with USAID saying that 26% of children in Kenya are stunted, a sign of chronic malnutrition. And while yes, there have been improvements in recent years, there are still parts of the country where this is a massive problem. And so of course, with this one, I'd love to know your thoughts. I think this is like a different version of the same thing regarding, once again, the so-called scandal. Right? I think there are things you can criticize Mr. Beast for. I don't see this as one of them. Right? I don't see Mr. Beast coming in and doing these things as a failure in any way of activists and people trying to make the world better. Rather, I think they should light a bigger fire under politicians, the people who actually have the power to do something. Right? In this case, he was in Kenya and other African countries, but oftentimes he also highlights issues back here in the US. That it should add a spotlight to not just that shit is fucked, but why shit is fucked. And as it is in a lot of situations, it's largely because the haves trying to keep away the have-nots. Money, resources, access to those things. That's control. We wouldn't even be having this very important conversation right now, nor would the lives of those featured in the video be better off if Mr. Beast didn't take the time here. Which is not to say, get on your knees and pray to the almighty Jimmy, but it's weird to just fucking take it out on him. But again, that's a story, my opinion, and whether you agree or disagree, I'd love to hear from you. And then
I don't really understand that opinion. I'm gonna be honest. I don't understand the opinion at all. There's stuff to criticize Jimmy for, Mr. Beast. Okay, I'd be curious on what those criticisms would be. Critiques, maybe. Criticisms, I don't know. And then instead, you didn't address the people attacking this man. Really, you kind of rerouted it and focused on the Kenyan government. I mean, I'm not gonna be too harsh on it. I think I understand where you're coming from. To be honest, my only thing with this, as it consistently happens, is why we're not focusing on the people that are basically calibrating their anger towards Jimmy. Why are those people? Maybe he's just I mean, to be fair, he might just be a news channel. He did say his opinion, but I don't know what his opinion was really. Because I think it should be shamed. It should be discounted. Yes, there's a small subsection of this people of social media who never get out the room, actually never, try to help society whatsoever. But I think shame is a good thing in this circumstance. He doesn't profit off this. Him getting attention just helps his ability to help more people. The cycle that he's trying to create is more content of enjoyment for the people, more eyes on him and his efforts, more money towards him to recycle to more people who need the money for his efforts. The blind, the deaf. What is it saying to society? I'm very curious on people's thoughts about that. What do you think all the people criticizing Mr. Beast and what he's doing, what is it really saying about our current state of affairs? Because people say they want a better society, but it sounds like they want their version of a better society where all minorities have all the power. And I'm going to just stop there. That's all I got. Y'all have a good one. Take care and peace.